we have a number of really important questions that we need to answer, or at least be thinking about and asking over the next couple of days. I think the first, most obvious, is why? Really, why are we all here? Why are you all here? Why does travel and tourism need another conference? So my co-founders and I, Bruce and Alex, we've been in this industry for some time. We've been to a lot of conferences. It's interesting, when you go to most kind of general travel conferences, they really talk about two things, right? We all know, flights and hotels, transportation and accommodation. And it makes perfect sense. Travel is one of the world's largest industries. Transportation and accommodation represent the vast majority of industry revenue. So when the industry gets together, they're going to talk about what matters to them. Now, what's also interesting, sometimes, every now and again, they talk about you. This world of tours, activities, and attractions. And when they do, they use this interesting word. I've heard it quite a bit over the years. I bet some of you have as well. Ancillary. It's an interesting word. It means subordinate, subsidiary, assisting. In a travel context, like extra, add-on. Now that I've sold you that hotel, would you like to add on an attraction ticket or a tour? So we get a sense of how the broader travel industry thinks about you and the experiences and the things that you provide. So it's interesting. What about travelers? What do you think they think about your experiences? Do you think they use the word ancillary? When they're planning, they're envisioning, when they're dreaming about that next big holiday, you think they're dreaming about this? Or are they dreaming about this? What do they remember? Like, what's really important to them? What do they take photos of? Right, we all know it's this, right? That's what we're all taking photos of. No, of course not. We all know what we're taking photographs of. We all know what's really important. We've actually done research. We've asked this question. What's really important to you? What do you remember most from your trips? What do you take photographs of? Look what's at the bottom. Flights and hotels. But you don't need research to tell you this. Just pull out your phone, look at the photos from your last holiday. We all know what's important to us. We all know what we take photos of. We all know what we remember and what we think about when we are planning that trip. So, the broader travel and tourism industry, they like to use the word ancillary. We at Arival, we have some different words that we use. So we call this the best part of travel. This is the best part of travel. However, it's also very different from the rest of travel. The way in which you need to research, find, market to, win, convert, serve your travelers, it's very different from hotels and airlines. The way I shop for tours is completely different from how I shop hotels. The way I purchase my attraction tickets, it's not how I book my flights. So we at Arival, we believed that this industry, if it is an industry, this part of travel and tourism, it needed a place, a forum to call its own, where we could get together and talk about the things that mattered specifically to us, debate the issues that were relevant to us, learn about things, hear insights on trends that specifically pertain to us. Now, when we began hatching this idea at Arival, we talked to a lot of people in the travel and tourism industry, in the world of events and media and conferences. A lot of people, well, some had their doubts. So they asked, like, isn't this a really fragmented sector? Lots of really small businesses? Would they come to a conference? Right? Is this even an industry? Fragmented is a pretty interesting word. It means existing or functioning as though broken into separate parts, disorganized, disunified. So It's interesting, actually, as I was preparing for the conference, just preparing for this talk, and I'm going through the list of all of the attendees, all of the companies, going to a lot of your websites, learning about all the things that you do. As I'm looking at the photos that all of you have submitted and seeing all of these experiences, I'm not sure I see fragmented, disorganized. To me, it looks like the best part of travel. However, it's still an important question. What are we? Are we an industry? We really haven't kind of been one. We're certainly a community. Many of you have known each other for years, but are we really an industry? So when I'm confronted with difficult questions, my first instinct is to turn to data. What can numbers tell us? So I want to walk through a few numbers that I think are interesting, instructive for us as we contemplate this. So the first is 5. There are 5 major segments or groups or categories within this sector of travel and tourism. Tours, right, such as a walking tour or a cycling tour. Activities, it could be anything from a cooking class to a zipline adventure. Events, like a sporting match or a concert. Attractions, a museum, a zoo. The TV tower right here in Berlin. And then organized ground transportation. So basically, this is anything a traveler will do in destination. Here's another number, 105. We did a lot of work. We identified 105 distinct types of businesses within those 5 categories. Here's a look at them. I'm not going to read them all, but it's pretty amazing. All of these different types of industries within industries within industries. Now, this kind of tells us a bit of about our marketplace, but it really doesn't speak to the individual creativity, the people who are out there bringing this to life every single day. So, for example, we have one company here, Tsar Voyages from Russia. So with them, for example, you can take a ride in a tank with a Russian army sergeant, you can be a Tsar for a day, or you can do this, which kind of caught my eye as I was going through the photos. I really wasn't too sure what it was, but we've got Manon and Lucas here. You guys could stand up. So this is a Russian sauna experience, is that correct?
The banya, which is like traditional Russian sauna, but basically it's a bit more than a sauna because you get slapped at the same time that you do it with like some traditional Russian herbs, but before that you get some vodka and jump in the snow afterwards, so it makes the whole thing pretty fun.
Okay, so basically in the middle of winter I take my clothes off, I go outside, I get slapped, and then I pay you money. That's how that works?
Basically that's it, but then you're happy about it. And you keep good pictures, as mentioned before.
Okay, well, I'm going to discuss that with my wife, and it may or may not go on the bucket list. So thank you.
See you in Moscow.
Thank you very much. Awesome. So just one example. Here's another number, 170 billion. Right? So this is the amount of money that travelers are going to spend on those 105 plus different types of businesses this year. Pretty extraordinary. That 170 billion gets us to 3. That makes this sector of travel and tourism the 3rd largest sector of travel, so right behind transportation and accommodation. But just to give you a sense of the scale, this sector, it's larger than rail travel. If you put car hire and cruise together, and then you doubled it, you all would still be bigger. So when I think about all of these numbers, right, when I think about all of these incredible businesses, I'm not sure I see fragmented. Right? I see the best part of travel. When I see all of you, nearly 700 of you, sitting in a room together, I'm not sure I see disunified. This looks like unity to me. So let's dive into a little bit around who's here. Who are you here with? So we have actually some updates to make. A lot of you like to register late, so we're actually nearly 700 attendees, nearly 350 companies from 58 countries. Pretty extraordinary. Most of you are from Europe, but many of you have traveled further. And then the types of companies. So most of the companies who are here are what we call operators. So these are the creators, the organizers, the producers of the tour, the activity, the event, and the attraction that you deliver to the travelers. Another word is suppliers, but we tend to use the word operators here at Arival. There's also a number of companies from the world of technology and from distribution, companies that are either reselling your products to travelers or companies that are providing technology services. And we'll talk a bit more about that shortly. But again, these are great numbers, tells us a lot about kind of who all is in this room in aggregate, but it doesn't really tell us kind of some of the individual stories and the creativity that exist within this room. So I'm just going to highlight a few. So first, we have Tina Kyriakis, the founder of Alternative Athens. Tina, if you would stand up.
Hello.
Yeah. So what was kind of interesting, you founded Alternative Athens in 2013. So if my memory serves, generally speaking, that wasn't really like a kind of a prime time to be starting a business in Greece,
Not
right?
really, no.
So, like, did people think you were a little crazy, or what was going on there?
No, I think it would be crazy for me to just sit back and wait for something to happen. So because I have been working in the corporate world for so many years and I was fed up with it, I said I might as well do something I really like. And what I really wanted to do was to bring in my own city the way I traveled when I traveled abroad. So that was the idea, and the Alternative Athens is my personal vision of how people should travel, like to experience things.
And how is it going? Can you share how many passengers or guests did you serve last year?
Well, we started in 2013. I was doing the tours myself. I designed the food tour, and I went out and I did it myself. And last year we served more than 15,000 people in Athens.
Awesome.
I don't know how it happened, but I think it was the right time. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
fantastic.
Thank you very
Sounds
much.
great.
Thank
Welcome. So we also have all the way from Israel, the owner of Bike Life Motorcycle Tours, Dubi Nevo. So Dubi, welcome. So 10 or 11 years ago, my understanding was you had a pretty bad stroke.
Yes.
And the doctors had more or less pronounced you dead.
Yes.
But apparently they were wrong. Is that correct?
Completely. I think I'm wrong. They were wrong.
Okay, that's good for us.
Yes.
And I think it's good for you too. So so we've had a conversation. Just really quickly, what do you want to get most out of Arival? Why did you come?
My weakest point is marketing, and I want people to know about my tours, and I came to meet with the OTAs and media marketing companies.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yes.
So just really quickly, how many people here are from distribution, OTAs, or from the world of marketing? Fair number. Is there anyone here who would like to have a chat with Dubi? Anyone? Okay, so you've got a few appointments to set up afterwards. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome, Dubi. Okay, and last but not least, I want to highlight Raminta. I'm going to mispronounce this. Matonita.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, all right. Got it. Perfect. Co-founder of Vilnius Tours with Locals from Lithuania. So what struck me about your story, you started the company when you were still in university.
Yes.
And then you continued, obviously, when you left. So the way things are supposed to go is you go to university, then you get like a regular job, and maybe you do something. It took me 25 years to figure out what I wanted to do. So how did this happen? Did people think you were crazy?
Yes, they definitely believe that we are crazy. Nobody took us as a competition, as competitors, but now we are the most popular tours in Vilnius.
Wow, fantastic. Well, congratulations and welcome. Welcome, we're thrilled to have you. Awesome. So look, these are just some of the stories here. I wish I could tell all of the stories. I certainly hope, and my co-founders as well, can meet as many of you as possible. At Arival, we're just getting started. One of the things I can promise, we will be telling all of these stories. Now, another important question for us to address is, why now? Why is this happening now? Another way to think of this, here's another number, $700 million. So venture capitalists, investors of different types have poured more than $700 million into maybe a few dozen startups within this sector in the past 2 years. It's extraordinary. So what is going on? I believe we in this industry are at this point where there's going to be some really extraordinary change. I want to walk you through a few things that I think are driving a lot of what is happening in our sector. So first, this is not just the third largest sector of travel, it is also the fastest growing. we are experiencing this rapid rise of a younger generation, millennials and rising Gen Z, that are completely changing our marketplace. This generation from all over the world, from the Americas, from Europe, but in particular, travelers who are coming from Asia, they are completely redefining our marketplace. They have read more, seen more, experienced more, socialized more, Instagram more. They are redefining the expectations of this marketplace, which is why we have devoted so many of the sessions in our theater and our workshops to understanding who this traveler is, how do you serve them, how do you win them, how do you meet their expectations, how do you deliver. A really important piece to this is digital. And this is a refrain that I've heard at a lot of those other conferences for many years. This industry, it's too fragmented, too many small businesses, they don't understand technology. Nobody will book this stuff online, of course, right? Now, it is true, this industry is a bit behind. So it's taken more than 2 decades for the broader travel industry to get to a place where about half of all travel is booked online. I think it was last year or the year before. Tours and activities, where are we? We're about 10 years or so behind. But I guarantee you, it's not going to take 2 decades or more for us to catch up. In fact, I think it's going to happen in just a few years. And here's why. A few things that are going on. First, your customers are already there, especially that rising generation of younger travelers. They are already primarily going to digital first. They are researching, they are shopping, they are planning. And you know what? They want to book. They are there. They are waiting for you. They are waiting for us. Hugely important, which is why we spend so much of this program and in our workshops devoted to direct digital marketing. What are the tools? What are the things that we need to go and find those travelers, to win them, to convert them, to get them into our funnel and to serve them? Now, some of you are there. Some of you are on your way. Some of you may not get there. That's just how it works. But there's no reason why everyone in this room can't. And one of the big reasons behind this is tech. There has been this extraordinary growth, like transformation of technology within this industry. The types of tools and things that are available to all of you, these weren't available even just 5 years ago. These are technologies that once only airlines and hotels and maybe the largest tour operators could have access to. Everything from inventory, reservations, mobile and online booking, and even more sophisticated things like yield management and pricing, which we'll talk about tomorrow. Now you can access all of these things. And there are nearly 30 of these companies who are here at this conference, and I'm pretty sure they would like to talk to you. Another big driver behind this is distribution. And in particular, I'm talking about online travel agencies. Some of these companies, they have spent a lot of money, raised a lot of money. They have bought some reservation systems. They've made some pretty big investments. They have big plans. This raises some pretty big questions for all of us. What does this mean? How big will they go? Which brands will your customers remember? Yours or theirs? Which one should you work with? How many should you work with? Should you work with them at all? How much should it cost? These are the questions that we will be asking on stage. As we are asking these questions, you should be asking these questions as well and thinking about it in the context of your business. And by the way, there are more than 50 distribution companies here. Go ask them these questions. I am sure that they would all love to speak to you. Now, with all of this excitement, it's the fastest growing sector, all of this great stuff is happening, there's one more big issue that we will have to dig into. It'll be featured quite prominently over the course of the next 2 days. You probably know where I'm going with this. All of this growth does not come without cost. So of course, I'm talking about over-tourism, the broader issue of sustainability and responsible travel. This, again, raises a whole slew of questions. How much can we grow? What does it mean? How do we incorporate sustainability practices in a way that serves our business? Do customers even care? Do travelers even care? We have a session devoted to this first thing tomorrow morning. We will spend quite a bit of time on it. Now, regardless of how you feel about this issue and some of the media coverage and so forth, it's a contentious issue. But regardless of your position, one thing I can tell you, from Venice to Amsterdam and beyond, decisions are being made about this. So the question is, what role will you play? Will you have a voice? That is where the power of coming together as an industry can really have an impact. So you can see, I think, we have quite a bit to talk about over the next couple of days. Are we an industry? I think we are. We call it the in-destination industry. Are we ancillary? Hell no. I don't think so. We may be comprised of hundreds of different types of businesses, but we're all bound by a common mission, right? Creating amazing in-destination experiences. And we're all facing the same challenges. Our marketplace is changing, our customers are changing, our customers' expectation of amazing is changing. This is calling all of you to be more than just a tour operator, an attraction. That tour operator needs to become a digital marketing agency, needs to become a technology expert, needs to work with distribution, needs to become an Instagram influencer, needs to be able to lead workshops on search and social and so on and so forth. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the in-destination industry. Welcome to the third largest sector of travel. Welcome to the best part of travel. This is your Arival. Thank you.